Episode 5: The Hidden Game of Luck and Risk. What if I told you that your success isn't just about your hard work? What if two people could make the exact same decisions, and one ends up a millionaire while the other ends up bankrupt? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Success is never 100% skill, and failure isn't always your fault. In this episode, we're diving into the invisible forces that shape your financial life: luck and risk. Let's start with two names: Bill Gates and Ken Evans. They were childhood friends. Both were brilliant. Both attended the same school, one of the only schools in the US at the time with a computer. They both got obsessed with computers, learned to code, and dreamed big. But Ken died in a mountaineering accident in high school. Bill Gates went on to found Microsoft. Now here's the point. We love to look at Gates and say he was a genius, and that's true. But what if Ken had lived? Maybe he would have become the tech icon. Maybe he would have built Microsoft. The difference? Luck. We hate to admit it, but life is full of randomness. And money, more than most things, is shaped by chance. You got your job because you met the right person. You bought Bitcoin because your friend wouldn't stop talking about it. You avoided that crash because you just happened to sell early. But here's the twist. We only call it luck when it works in our favor. When it goes against us, we call it risk. So why does this matter? Because understanding the role of luck and risk makes you humble when you win and gracious when you lose. It makes you better with money because you stop assuming everything is fully under your control. Let's take another example. In 2008, thousands of smart investors lost their shirts. Many of them did everything right. Diversified portfolios, careful strategy, long-term thinking, but the housing crash and global financial crisis wiped them out. It wasn't a lack of intelligence. It was systemic risk. On the flip side, how many people do you know who made a random crypto investment or bought the right stock by accident and then acted like they were Warren Buffett? It's easy to confuse being right with being lucky. And it's even easier to ignore the millions of people who made the same bet and lost. You don't hear about them. They don't get interviews. They don't go viral, but they exist. And if you don't factor their stories into your thinking, you'll get a false picture of how money really works. Let's go deeper. Why is it dangerous to underestimate luck? Because it leads to overconfidence. You think you're untouchable. You think your strategy is bulletproof. You double down. You take bigger risks. And then something random happens. A war, a recession, a policy shift, and it all crashes. Here's the key idea. Never judge your success or someone else's just by the outcome. Always ask, how much of this was luck? How much was skill? What part was out of their hands? Morgan Housel says it best in the book. Nothing is as good or as bad as it seems. Luck and risk are doppelgangers. They are both the reality that every outcome in life is guided by forces outside of our control. That's powerful. Now, let's flip it. Why is it dangerous to ignore risk? Because you'll blame yourself for things you couldn't control. You'll punish yourself for bad outcomes, even when you made smart choices. You'll become afraid to try again, even if you had the right strategy. Here's an example. Let's say you invest in a solid company. Great fundamentals, safe balance sheet, long-term upside. But a scandal hits, the stock tanks, and you lose money. Was it a bad decision? Not necessarily. That's the thing. You can make good decisions and still get bad outcomes. And you can make reckless decisions and get rich temporarily. Your job isn't to guarantee outcomes. It's to make smart, repeatable, low-risk decisions over time, knowing that sometimes they won't work out. So what does this mean for you and your money? It means be careful before copying others. Their success might have included luck you can't repeat. Don't be quick to judge failure. You don't know what unseen risk played a role. Be conservative in your assumptions. Just because something worked before doesn't mean it will again. Respect volatility. Even smart strategies can get blindsided. There's also a psychological point here. When we fail, we look for reasons. We blame ourselves. But sometimes it was just bad luck. And when we succeed, we take full credit, even if chance gave us a boost. That's dangerous, because it makes us blind to risk and arrogant with success. The best investors? The ones who survive long-term, they all say the same thing. I was lucky. They respect the role of chance. They don't gamble everything, even when they're winning. They don't assume it will always go their way. They plan for bad luck. They protect against risk. They stay humble. So how can you use this knowledge? Number 1, build margin into your financial life. Don't stretch every dollar. Don't assume the best-case scenario. Number 2, celebrate your wins, but don't get cocky. Understand that some part of it was timing, randomness, or outside help. Number 3, don't let a bad outcome destroy your confidence. Ask, was my decision smart? Not just did I win. Number 4, diversify in money and in life. If one thing goes wrong, it shouldn't break you. Number 5, stop idolizing the ultra-successful without understanding their unique circumstances. You don't know the full story. Here's a final thought to sit with. If success was purely based on skill, the richest people would always be the smartest, most ethical, most hardworking people. But they're not. And if failure always meant you were foolish, then nobody would bounce back. Reality is messier than that. And when you learn to respect luck and risk, you become wiser, calmer, and more resilient. In the next episode, we'll look at one of the biggest blind spots in human thinking, how we treat wealth that we can't see. You'll find out why the quiet millionaire next door often has more power than the flashy guy with the sports car, and how to start building invisible, lasting wealth of your own.